All right, so the title is pretty self-explanatory. I just got on here to encourage y'all to start taking action because you got endless possibilities when you do it. I think the main thing that people struggle with is the overthinking, of course. When they're trying to make a decision, they start kind of getting in their head and getting in their brain, and it kind of just sways you from making that final decision for whatever it is. But my whole thing is if you were to put yourself out there and get rid of the fear of failure, you never know where you'll land. So why not just go for it? A lot of the times people will sit on things too. They'll just sit on it, sit on a decision. Oh, I don't know if I should do this. I don't know if I should do that. But if you take the action, if you take steps, that's another thing. If you take the steps before you make the final decision, it will turn out even better. Because as you're taking the steps, if something goes wrong, okay, you can adjust. But you got to start taking the steps to take the action. So I'm just doing a little story time of when I took action and the outcome was pretty much great. But this is with modeling. So it all started with Instagram. And with Instagram, you can connect with so many people nowadays. It's so easy to network. It's so easy to put yourself out there, talk to the right people. So I have a good friend of mine. I ran track with him, and he was a photographer. We both were doing camera work. I did videography. He did photography most of the time. But he had a lot of connections with a lot of photographers. He followed a lot of photographers on Instagram, whereas me, like, I didn't really have too many creators that I followed. I was pretty much focusing on my personal brand and all that stuff. So one day he had reached out to me. It was another creator. He was a photographer out in another city, not too far from me, but he had a story, and it basically said he was looking for models for a shoot, and it was for a running shoot. So I'm like, yo, I already ran collegiate track, so I mean it's perfect. This could be my step in the modeling scene. And with modeling, like, that's something that I always knew that I could do. So I'm like, I need to put myself out there, at least one time so I could see where it goes, because I never know. So this time I reached out to that photographer since he sent me that story where he was, doing a call out. Reached out to him. He reached back out to me while I was at work, and he's like, "Oh, the brand likes your look. Can you send me a selfie?" Which is hella weird, I know. But I sent him a selfie, and the brand that I was gonna shoot for, which I didn't even know who I was shooting for, but the brand I was shooting for, they liked my look, and they ended up going with me for the shoot. And from then on, we discussed the payment and location, all that good stuff, the samples. And after that, I did the shoot. The date came for that. The shoot was smooth. It was the first time I did a campaign, and it was awesome. And one of the things I want to preach to y'all is just putting yourself out there and taking action sometimes, because you never know what you're going to get. Stop thinking about, oh, I'm going to fail, or how will I look when I do this, or, stop thinking about those things, because it really kills the action that you're about to take place. It just makes you so indecisive. So after that, I connected with that photographer, and that was the good thing too. Like, I had a good connection with him, all good people I was around. So I stayed in touch, which this is another thing that is real good too. Like, you wanna keep the good people around you that you connect with and that are in industries that you want to get in. Some people might not be, up to par, or they might not be the ideal people you want to be around. So you do have to kind of be skeptical with, who you're being friendly with or getting real close with. But after this, I remember it was about 6 months later. he reaches out to me again about another campaign, and it's for a bigger brand. So I'm like, yo, and I'm like, I wouldn't even imagine myself shooting for this brand. And it's like, yo, he reached out to me with this. So it all started with Instagram DM. Ain't that crazy? But that goes to show, like, yo, if you put yourself out there, if you take action sometimes and just stop overthinking about failing or about whatever you're overthinking about, yo, good things can come out of it. So just start taking action, guys. So I remember shooting for that bigger brand the second time, and it was probably one of the best experiences I've had because I was around the things that I wanted to be around. I wasn't just sitting at, my 9 to 5 or whatever, but I was around great people. It went smooth. I was doing a great job. I got great feedback. It was all gravy. So I'm like, yo, having an experience like that and seeing where I came from the jump, it all started with Instagram. It was just like, dang, this is crazy, because now I'm shooting for them. But as I'm closing this video, you never know what you're gonna get from putting yourself out there. And I feel like a lot of people are fearful because they feel like they'll be judged or whatever it may be. But I feel like judgment is the biggest thing, worrying about what other people think about you, where you're going or what you're doing. But you can't really be worried about that stuff. You got to be focused on yourself, your own self-growth, and just do things. That's another thing, is like, just stop talking about doing it, just go for it. Because you've seen the outcome that I had just off of that one little seed that I planted.